tuning in. We're going to dive right into the conversation, but please note that this is a part 2. So if you kind of get lost on where we are, just real quick, names.
Veronica Griffin.
Aaron Betts.
Zetha Nobles.
But please catch part 1 of this great, and I'm not even going to call this one Leadership Abroad anymore. I think this is just a great conversation regarding educational growth and where we're going and what we're trying to do, even looking internationally. And so what kind of started a conversation off camera, because that's what we do, we talk, is that I said, I kind of just put out there, hey, what's good? And it spilled into a whole new conversation that I think we can explore a little bit more. So,
go ahead.
Really took us down back to the thin instead of the...
the thing is, and what I'm going to say is, if you could paraphrase it, I think if we also look at, there was a major conversation with ISS on a conference call a couple weeks ago, talking about diversity, and this is what we're going to do for diversity in education, and it's not there. And it's feeding a lot of lines. So when we look at the fact of us trying to grow in a field that has never looked at us, one, that's something that we're still trying to do in America, and then that's 2, what we're trying to do out here. You have to be realistic, and we're going to go back to your conversation on, am I really focused on growing myself as a professional, and then I'm going to be the other person, or growing myself as a person, because I'm growing myself as a person. I no longer, for me, have to do anything past my position. And I am certified to be a principal. I am certified, like I went through superintendent. I actually have one of the top certifications. But you could call it old, you could call it bad nerves, you could call it whatever it is. I found my happy place, which is teaching and learning. And I now am looking for retirement.
Exactly.
And planning for that. And so you do have to make a decision if you're coming out here on which direction do you want to go. Because I think, and if you want to allude to it, if you're still trying to find spots to grow professionally, the best you'll get out here is international experience on your resume, and to meet new people and network.
But piggybacking kind of from what you were talking about in terms of professional development and the lack of intellectualization here, and that's a real thing. I can go back and tie that into the relationships that we build. Because the same way I said that we should be working together on PD for our staff, there's no reason why we can't do book chats together. You know, we talked about Michelle Obama's book briefly, but there is so much literature out there, and I mean, it's not a problem for us to pick up a digital copy of anything. So it depends on what type of professional growth you're trying to do. If you're trying to do professional growth, so you have certificates to hang on your wall, you might not be able to get that here unless you go abroad or to another country and do some, you know, conferences and workshops and stuff. But if you're interested in just growing, and I know one thing I haven't been doing since I've been here is really reading. And that's something I've been popping myself in the head about a lot. When I lived in Kuwait, I brought lots of books with me. I went back home, I left those books there. I have like 3 books here. And I'm like, you know, I really need to. And I'm a book cuddler. I want to get in bed and read with the book. The whole iPad reading doesn't really work for me.
Beautiful.
There is something. So I think we have to look at other opportunities to grow, because for me, I'm not going back to the States. You know, I worked in a district, and you know, I was principal in a district, and it was a great opportunity for me. I think I've turned out of the growth potential. The opportunity to be a superintendent in the States, I could go back and be a superintendent in the States, but the hell that comes with that position is something that I'm absolutely not interested in. You know, I'm in my 40s. I'm hoping to have myself in a position where I can retire. You said it, where I can retire, you know, 50, 51 is the limit I'm giving myself. And when I say retire, I don't mean die. I mean, you know, going to something that I really enjoy. I want to farm. You're talking about Kenya. I'm thinking about farming.
We're here.
In Kenya.
We have an RT later.
So I enjoy the work we do, and then I constantly have to consider, you can pick up that book and read it on your own, Zetha. You can read, you can learn, you can develop intellectually on your own. What do you like to do? Everything you do does not have to be in education. I said, I want to do some farming.
Yes.
I can start reading about agriculture, and I've been picking up. I got one for you too.
But I was
take a trip together.
yes,
too.
we have to do this. But I was going to say, the thing for me when I talk about retirement, because I'm kind of in that same frame with you, is my retirement is I don't want to ask permission for a paycheck.
Absolutely, same here.
It doesn't mean that I'm not getting money, but I am tired of asking permission.
Or thinking, what if I say too much on that tea talk, and my supervisor or my boss hears it and calls me in the office? I don't want that.
Chastised. We've done it.
Which is where I am now.
Where we all are.
This last year, I've never worked so hard, so much, so long in my career. And I'm on the other side of 50. So I'm ready. I am very ready to be at that place where I don't have to worry about my boss. At all. I'm not there. I have no interest at all in going back to the U.S.
Yeah, I do.
Now, I don't have to stay here. I can go elsewhere.
Exactly.
But I am enjoying here. So when you talk about the good, I am enjoying that. I am enjoying the cultural. I've never met so many diverse people in my life.
Yeah, that's true.
We live in silos in the U.S.
Yes.
In Chicago, especially, it's such a segregated city. People don't know that. They always say, "Oh, Chicago's so wonderful."
No.
Like it's a great place to visit. So here, I do feel freer.
Same.
I do feel like personally, there's so many more opportunities. But for me professionally, the amount of work, and a lot of it has to do with opening a new school.
Exactly.
Yes.
But the amount of work that I've had to put in, I haven't been able to travel. So a lot of the reasons that we come here, I haven't benefited from that yet. And so I'm looking forward to that. And I am looking forward to getting that paycheck, that's my paycheck, that would come from somebody else at the end of the month, that one time.
Well, I think,
Or late.
Or late.
I think there's a lot to say about that, and the fact that we're still in our careers. And I put that on the work ethic that we've been raised with, that we will always do phenomenal work. We know nothing else. We will always make things happen. We will always produce. And in those places, I do think that what is kind of like the missing links is that in America we're used to, if I'm producing for a public school, I'm producing for a public entity. Here I'm doing it for a private entity. And so I'm always going to have to be under somebody else's vision. And at the end of the day, their vision is the decision. And one thing I had to learn at a very young professional age is I ain't the one with the vision. Either I am part of the vision or I'm not. And if I'm not, you leave. Because that's where your happiness is. And so especially, I would say, especially leadership, you all work with the board. You all work with those different entities. And is it navigating? But being able to navigate, and you go back to relationships and navigating their visions and their choice. Is it that you find that you're now having to find new ways to make sure your vision is aligned with the vision that they have for their school?
Well, for me, the school I'm at, we're changing the mission and vision of the school. We're going to change that. But when I came in, I looked at their mission and vision statement, and I'm like, this is very convoluted, but this is what you want. This is what we're going to do. Okay. So I had to adjust to their mission and vision statement because I'm saying, one, I'm here to do a service. Let me do what I need to do based upon your mission and vision, and I'm going to exceed that. So that's what I've done. Now, do I agree with it? Hell no. But I told the board, and I also told the person that hired me, I said, I will do everything you ask me to do as long as it does not compromise my integrity. As long as it does not compromise my integrity and my education integrity, I'll do anything that you want me to do. It's about my integrity and my ethics. Once you cross those lines, then we're going to have some problems. And I'm one of those types, I don't let stuff fester. I voice it right there. And I'm going to let you know I can't do this. Okay? And if you have a problem with it, we just going to have some problems.
I think that's how a lot of us operate, and we come here with that. And I've seen a lot of people have to leave because they come with that. So it has, there's this kind of balance or this fine line that you have to make with, one, keeping to your ethics and your beliefs, and then, you know, because sometimes those lines get blurry, and we end up getting the boot, you know, and it does become difficult. I personally have not had to deal with that situation, and I think it's just because the way I operate, I kind of listen, plan, and I may show a better, you know, a better opportunity than what you thought, which sometimes they can buy into that. But if they want me to buy into what they're saying, and I can't have an opportunity to say, well, what about this? Like I changed the mission. I kept the vision, but I changed the mission. It was, like you said, a little bit too convoluted. It didn't make sense. It wasn't streamlined. It didn't mean anything. It didn't give me anything to really follow. So I changed that. There was no conversation about it at all. I just changed it, and I said, okay, I changed the mission, and I made it on a really pretty picture with colors, you know, and it was like, oh, okay. Now part of that too is that I'm in a brand new school too, so a lot of those things that were put in place, they're expecting me to change.
Right, correct. Vision.
Yeah, had I come to a school that's been around for a long time, you know, even in the States, you know, we changed our mission and vision, and it was a really big deal, and people's feelings got hurt.
Yes.
I'm just using the mission and vision
They
conversation.
They've been Bobcats for the last 25 years. I'm a Bobcat. What's a Wildcat?
So there is this kind of fine line that we have to kind of walk in order to keep who we are, keep our integrity, keep our status. I mean, I've been in schools where, like I said during the break, where parents paid to have grades changed, and I won't do that.
Right.
I'm just not going to do that. You know, I think you come, and I've coached parents to understand why this is not the right thing to do. Now you're really setting your child up for failure.
It's the ability to coach.
Yes.
Because there's so many things that's always been this way.
Yes.
And so since we've always done things this way, and then the look of you is, oh, you changing everything.
Yeah.
Versus when you have those conversations of why we're changing.
Right.
That's a really different piece.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate in that I haven't had to do that. In all honesty, with this new school, as it was presented to me before I even came over, the vision in and of itself, I could have written for myself. I think they were my words, they were my beliefs, exactly what I wanted to execute. What I find troubling, the difficulty for me, and maybe not so much an integrity piece, I can't quite put coin it so much, is the business aspect of it, being a private school who's out to make money. And right now, this vision is phenomenal and it's great, and I'm speaking to that.
Yes.
My parents are hearing it, my teachers are hearing it, my kids are hearing it, but in the background, that's not what's driving anything.
Right.
What's driving everything is making money. Making money.
Dinero. They want the faloose, dinero, money. They always ask me in school, Mr. B, what do you like about this school? And I'm like everybody else, the money.
Oh Lord, I hope you don't tell them that.
But I want to say this. I do think, and one thing that we tend to do as educators, we do self-reflect. We always have to look at where we're supposed to go.
Correct.
And we don't always get time to smile about the shine. And I can tell you right now, I'm going to ask you so you can go ahead and put it in your mind. What has been your shine? What has been your shine? What has been that glowing point? And I'm going to ramble a little bit while all of y'all thinking, hey, what is my shine? But I say that because while we are in the midst of what we're doing, you focus and you're changing, you have no idea what somebody's watching you is saying. And I can say this because I know Veronica. And I think, I don't remember that we came one time and I said, I see you. And she paused and she's like, well, I'm just doing, no. You're standing, you're speaking, you're trying, you're doing. That was enough for me. That was absolutely enough for somebody looking at somebody else. Now, I'm going to say this for everybody else. She's not my mentor. She's not my saving grace. She's not my God. She is simply someone who deserves the accolades for walking that walk. And so when I ask you what's your shine, I'm asking you not, I got everybody to turn in a curriculum on time. You No. But you're out here in a different aspect.
What worked for me in both places that I've worked is that I built relationships. You know, the very first thing I did when I went in, I called an emergency meeting because I popped up. I'm like,
It's
black man here, big black man. So what I did was I called for an emergency meeting and I talked about my expectations. But at the same time, I also told the teachers, it's like, look, my job is to coach you. My job is not to take your job. I am not here to fire you. I'm here to make the school better.
Correct.
And I'm here to help you. And also, not only help you, I want you guys to help me also. Because when you see me doing something that's wrong or you feel that's an error in my judgment, let me know.
Yes.
And so once teachers figured out after a couple of weeks, they figured like, okay, Mr. B's all right, you know. And I actually had a teacher come up to me like, you know what, you know, I had you wrong. Because I just thought you were just talking. Because we all saw we had here is people just talk. We didn't see results. But you really do come and help us. You really come to our classroom. You really do meet with parents. You meet with us. You always asking us how you feeling today, what's going on, how can I help? So they were I was surprised by that. That I'm like, but yo, I'm just doing my job. This is what I was taught to do. Okay. So thank you. I'm glad I'm helping you out. I'm glad that you feel comfortable enough to come talk to me now. Now parents is knocking on my door all the day on time. And usually at first when I got there, they were just coming with complaints. You know, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. Now they come like, thank you for the changes, but can you slow it down?
Yes, that's the big one I got to.
For all this.
Hey,
Mr.
hey.
Mr. B, you're going too fast. I said, but if I'm going too fast, you gotta keep up with me. So, like, no, but it's just too fast. Yeah, you know, like, you know.
And we can speak a lot because I was one of those, and then like my first 10 weeks was a whirlwind. We changed everything. I'm talking about we had kids falling out crying, the test looked a certain way. I mean, it was just dramatic. And then second semester, it turns out the school had to change the testing. Our kids were cool. Like, we already know they're crazy. This is what we expect. This is how we test now. And by that time, people don't realize it's really the ripping off of the Band-Aid. Like, just change it and go. And I will say that because I want to continue with the question. Because culturally out here, and that's not a bad thing because I'm envious sometimes. I want to be that chill. I don't know how to be that chill about something. You know, like how do you go to sleep knowing it's a fire next door? Oh, inshallah, it will be out. So when you turn around and talk about shining, that's a good thing. The stress levels out here ain't high unless you was. But in the same aspect, it's something that's very not used to with us. Like, change. You said change, we're going to change. We're going to change. Do what we're going to do right now. Why wait till tomorrow? Just do it. So, but going to shining, we still have.
For me, one of the, I guess my proudest moments, accolades, accomplishments is in my special education program. That's definitely a shine. I would say that I don't know other schools in Dubai, but I put some money on we are the most inclusive school in Dubai. But the program in and of itself wasn't the change as much as it was dispelling the myths about students with special needs. On my first day of school, I had a parent call and say, what you gonna do about that kid in the classroom that's just in there screaming? What are you gonna do? I said, we're gonna teach him, we're gonna love him, and we're gonna show all the other children how to have empathy, how to have understanding, how to help him. I just ran it down to him. He didn't know what to say. He's like, okay, I'm trusting you. And came back later to say, thank you. You said it, and I trusted you, and I believed you. And so now I have children who were never accepted in schools. I have children who screamed, autistic children who screamed the first few weeks of school, and now they're part of the community, regular part of the community, walking in, hi Miss Veronica, as soon as they come in through the door. And so I think that little bit has impacted the educational landscape of the community that I serve. If I do nothing else in Dubai, that alone is enough shine for me.
Yes.
Especially here when they're in denial.
They're in denial.
Yes.
They're in denial.
When it comes to special needs, they're in denial.
And there's so many schools that deny these children. I have one, he hadn't been in school in 6 years.
Wow.
6 years. And another who had never been to school. And it's because schools don't accept them.
Yeah.
My school does, and they just don't realize they have somebody with special needs.
Well, I was going to say, but it goes back to when you talked about pedagogy. And there's a training that happens with special education.
Exactly.
Yes.
And if you're not even trained for pedagogy,
Correct.
if you don't know how to make 22
Yeah.
kids engage, because I was going to say, they can make 22 kids be quiet.
Yeah.
But
Not engaged.
But not engaged.
Yeah.
And
Quiet.
I'm definitely going back to you with Sean, but the piece is, and please, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, and I'm going to say my judgment. So I feel that education, if you don't know, most people get their understanding or enlightenment now from television.
Yeah.
And you don't see differentiation in school.
No, you don't.
On
On TV.
television.
No, you don't.
still see the I'm in front of a child. They don't even have a smart board
Yeah.
in these new comedies, but they don't. So my idea of what education is straight out of a textbook, teacher in front,
Yep.
all children being quiet.
Yeah.
And so
Rote learning.
and so when you turn around and talk about the pedagogy or different things, there's a piece of me that had to sit back and say, I can't blame, because it goes back to when we talk about stereotypes that we're facing as women, or stereotypes we're facing as black. If this is what we're showing, and this one is in America, and I'll go Finland. There's a couple other countries that I know do great jobs, but we don't show those images. We brag about how wonderful our kids are, but we don't show the images of what we changed or how we got there, those different
Correct.
things. Therefore, the expectation is you're doing some of that crazy stuff.
Wasn't there a show on a principal in New Orleans? It was like a real short kind of reality show.
Oh
Yeah.
my
I remember that show.
Oh.
It didn't last very long.
And I bet you it didn't make it over here.
And that school was a new principal.
Yeah.
The thing is, that school got taken over by an investor, and the community was just totally against it. They started liking the principal, but they still had opposition because it was a rich white guy coming into their community
Okay.
trying to change everything. I remember that show because I watched it religiously.
Well, I was about to say, but the things, even when we talk about us growing ourselves, because
Yes.
like I know I watch PBS all the time to see education in Chicago or education in different places. It's not on the forefront of what we see.
Right.
It's just expected, and our teachers know it and do it.
Yeah.
So when we talk about these disbeliefs or these different things that you're up against, you're just constantly up against. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it ain't like we ain't been through a society that we've been up against anything before.
Right.
Exactly.
So let's just break down like some realities, because I'm about to get deep and not trying to, but if you got blood that looks like mine, baby, somebody went through something to make sure that you're breathing on this earth.
Yeah.
So if you have never had to feel the sting of a glass ceiling or being told no or whatever, bless you. But the people who brought you here have.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
for sure.
there is nothing new or nothing wrong about challenges. Their difference is, are we loving each other enough to make sure we're pulling each other through,
It's true.
or are we tearing each other out? And worse, are we making each other our competitions?
Yeah.
Because that's the key thing that's not needed out here, is to be competing against
Correct.
another
Definitely.
person.
But I actually found out from an Indian principal that a lot of schools operate that way.
The
Yes.
schools do.
The
Yes.
schools
But we don't.
I'm talking
So
about
We don't
us.
have to.
We don't
Correct.
have to.
Yes, the
Correct.
school can do what they gonna
Yes.
do, because we ain't making school money now.
And so when she was telling me this, I had to ask her a simple question. I said, well, how's that working for the overall school?
Right, exactly.
You're elementary
Yeah.
and you're competing against the high school
Yeah.
principal.
Imploding.
And I said, your kids are going to him.
Right. Exactly.
And you outshining the high school principal. And I said, it's causing, and
Yeah.
it's causing so much of
Yeah.
disequilibrium within the school. And then y'all principal, the head principal, just sitting back like a fat rat and just playing, have y'all puppets on the
Because it's a
street.
game, it is, and they're in their position. And that's one thing, people out here love their position.
Yeah.
And when I say that too, you can laugh at me, because I went to McDonald's and the person on fries stayed on fries. you don't understand. You don't move nobody out of their position. This is what I do,
That's
I know
right.
how to do it.
Right.
And everything. And the same thing out
Yeah.
here is if you're in leadership, you're in your
Yeah.
position.
Yes,
Mhm.
true.
And so,
But I think that part about us growing together and building each other up is really critical. I created a Dubai Principals group when I first got here on WhatsApp, and you're in it. And there were a couple other
Yeah, I was
Dubai
gonna ask about that.
administrators who are here, and we haven't really moved anything forward because I think we all kind of get caught up in our business.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, the
work.
business.
But I think we should be more intentional
Correct.
about it. And that's this Black educators in Dubai,
Yeah.
I think can really help us to stay focused, to try to become more intentional about supporting each other. I think
Yeah,
it's really
for
important.
sure.
Because I think, especially for us, we need to be more supportive of each other.
Yeah.
One, it ain't that many of us here.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And two, ain't that many of us, I'm saying ain't.
You know what you mean, brother?
There's not that many of us in leadership positions.
Yeah.
Because it's usually
Yeah,
white female, white
Yeah.
male, British.
yeah,
Okay. Not too many of us.
especially here. Yeah.
Especially here.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, just call it for what it is. The world is like this,
Yeah.
you know?
yes.
It's they're color struck.
Yes.
Okay.
It's true.
They're color struck. So when I first got here, I was asking around, like, is there like an association? Is there like
I asked the
a
same question.
is there like a WhatsApp group?
Yeah, the Addison group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
Mine was,
But you
the
created it
answer,
because it wasn't when I got
yeah.
it.
the answer is no, except for I didn't know about the principals group. And then the answer was with Black educators in Dubai. That was really me. And you wanna know what's hilarious? I've created maybe 5 to 7 Facebook groups,
Yeah.
and nothing ever really happens. Like I get a spunky idea, and when I created this, in 2 weeks it was 100 people, and I was like, oh my God.
We need
Like maybe I needed, and it was behind KHDA because I did not know what to
Yeah.
expect with KHDA, and I knew people out there did.
Yeah.
So it was okay. We're gonna fuel this, and then it was go into professional development and say, hey. Professional development I'm used to, and professional development they give out here.
something
And so-
totally different.
Very different.
and then the other piece of it with Black educators in Dubai is, I love us, we're doing great things. This ain't the end of the rainbow.
No.
So who's consulting? Because that's the next step.
Yeah.
I want to get into consulting too. So we're
Yeah.
going to have a round table
Yeah.
on how did you brand yourself,
Yeah.
what worked,
Very
what didn't
nice.
work. Like, let's
Yeah.
go ahead and build more knowledge.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's one reason why I love the Tea Talks, because it's always about knowledge.
Yeah.
It's about giving each other all our different spices mixed up together to blend tea.
The real tea, though, you know, not just that gossip. 'Cause we can do that later.
It was surprisingly, I know someone who was here. Her name was Loretta. She was a principal here.
Okay.
She was doing a lot of things. So
I think she's in LA now.
She's in Al Ain. So when I was in Abu Dhabi, me and her kind of collab. I
Well,
was
I'll
collaborating.
definitely, Loretta, if you're watching this, please connect. Let's all, because the thing is about, there's like-mindedness, but everybody's at different energies
Yeah.
at different times. Like you
Yeah.
said, well, so-and-so, well, if I come and say, hey, I got 3 months.
Right.
This is my 3 months I can do. Like, let's be
Yeah.
wise on how to build this, because the other truth is everybody has 5 other different jobs.
It's true.
Because the reason I brought her up, because she was talking about starting a school. And first thing I asked her, I said, have you reached out to any other black professionals around who's going? And she's like, there ain't nobody that's actually opened up a school. So she wanted to be the first. And then I talked about BPD. And then she was like, she reached out to them, you know, you got no money. You know, so they help, but they need some money. So those things, I'm like, well, we have a lot of black folks that's here talented. We just need to tap into it.
Yeah.
Each other.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's something that we don't do too often like we should.
It's true.
Like in Kenya, I was actually living in Kenya, and then there's a WhatsApp group for black folks in Kenya, black Americans. And I couldn't believe the amount of people, one, is I know there's that many of us there in Nairobi, and two, how much people collaborate with each other.
Yes.
You know, it's like I got to hook up on this, they throw it on there,
Yes.
and then people just do it.
Yeah.
So when I got here, I'm like, start asking around, do we have anything like that? You know, and surprisingly,
Yeah.
you do. I know about it.
Let me go. I want to go, because we're getting to the end of this conversation. So was there anything else that you just kind of wanted to sum up in the last
What about your
seconds?
shine?
Because we still
yeah.
just waiting for your shine.
I'm waiting on your shine.
You know, I've always thought leadership is about service. And For me, I think my shine would be service to other people. And whether it's a parent who, the first parent who chose to come to our school when there was no other child there because she saw something that made her trust me to